you've been somebody who supported our community in a really big way. I've seen how you've gone into other communities out there and you've gone and supported them. It is so cool for me to not only see you go and get these opportunities, within the Brooklyn Nets, whole situation going on with the captain's program, and things were sort of up in the big flux. But what you've done with it, I think, to me, speaks huge volumes about what you've been able to sort of include in terms of just you being an asset to this community as a leader. So I do have to go and put that up first, but then still have to ask the question. You are still a Knicks fan who is running the Nets program, because I'm a Heat fan running the Chicago Bulls program. And it is interesting how that sort of works, right? Because like I'm empathetically telling you, it's kind of crazy how this will sort of move you in a certain direction. But like I want to hear from your experience yourself. Am I correct with that? Or are you like also like a Nets fan and it's kind of like, hey, I like both teams?
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's honestly, I've always been a New York first fan. So for me,
Mhm.
it's obviously I was a Knicks fan growing up in the '90s. But as as time went on, the Nets then from Jersey moved to Brooklyn where I was living. So I started going to games. It was just very convenient. I liked the new stadium. The arena there was great. So I kind of became a big Net fan as well. Even the day they started, get had some early playoff games with the first run with Dinwiddie on the team, and
Gotcha.
they made it in. So it was exciting because I didn't see playoff basketball for decades. So I was I was definitely tuned into the Nets because it was basketball past the second week of April. So it was exciting. So for me, it's kind of still in the a bridge separates the two. It's still local, both are local teams. So I pull for both teams, obviously, and it really doesn't look like it'll be a while until there's a Subway series that's going to be in the postseason. So I think I'm fine for a long time to have to really decide who I'd root for.
No, yeah, and that's one of the things that being a Heat fan and also running the Bulls community, it's one of those things too where I hope we don't meet, but we actually did last season in the play-in tournament, and I still have it to this day that if the Bulls hadn't faced the Heat, I do think that there was a track forward. I don't know. This season has been so wonky, up and down. But I guess like I'll ask you. So Nets, they're kind of in like a weird season, right? They're sort
Yeah.
of it's interesting actually. Mikal Bridges was apparently offered in a deal for Jalen Green. So there is that potential for that to happen, and for the Houston Rockets to actually add a little bit more on top of that. And so I don't know whether that's a lot of substantiation to the rumor or whether it's like how true it is. But got to ask you about the Brooklyn Nets direction on their franchise as somebody who's running the program now. What sort of what do you think could be improved on? Like, what's your wish list? What's your wish list of things that they could do?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I definitely feel comfortable that it's a fun team to watch. I mean, that's the thing when for me, what being a New York fan. I mean, there's been a lot of good years in New York sports, but honestly, since it was 2012, the Giants won the Super Bowl, and
Mhm.
since that, we haven't had a championship in a dozen years. So it's it's hard just to get competitive to watch a competitive sport in New York lately because it kind of seems like there's a lot of promise before the season starts. It gets going, and by the All Star break of any sport, you're there looking around like, wait, what happened? It's like you really look at the rosters on paper and you go, okay, the Mets are going to be great, last year. Halfway during the year, it's fire sale. Let's get rid of everybody. I mean, it's almost, you could say with the Nets on paper a couple years ago, it's the same thing. You got the big three. You got Harden, you got Irving, you got Durant. You're a toe away on a Durant 3-point shot to advance, and then it kind of all just gets pulled out. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say like what kind of season you want exactly to happen, but as long as the ball, I feel like you're watching competitive ball, and there's youth on the team that has promise. Where it's like you got Claxton, you have Cam Thomas, you have a lot of guys where you said, hey, these they could develop and to give me some into pro players that are there putting up those numbers every night. now you have something to hope for. So it's kind of one or two pieces could easily take, I think, that base talent that you have and turn it around. Just like the Knicks with Brunson. They make one move to get Brunson before everyone's writing off Randall. This team's lost. We don't got anything going on here. Brunson comes and all of a sudden they're one piece away from going for the championship. So one guy really could make the difference. So I think it's great though that the Nets do have youth and do have a couple guys there that you say, hey, they can be the legs to a real competitive team. So I feel like it's unfair to kind of compare them to that big three all the time, even though you're just coming off of it. It's like, oh, this isn't Harden, this isn't Durant, but they don't have to
Right.
be.
So for me, I mean, you just hit it like you hit so many different nails on the head. And I think the biggest thing for me is that these are two very different teams. The Subway rivalry isn't going to happen. They're both on different trajectories, right? So while we're here in this Knicks game, because you're the master, I guess, of good transitioning into the game that we're watching right now, we're watching this next team, and I
Yeah.
think there are so many different layers to this team this season. Man, if I can get into all of it, our friends at the Morning Brew Crew Sports with Jerry Ferraro, I watch them every single week, and so they've been keeping me on tune with like a lot of these things that are happening, one time or another. Miles McBride, oh, telling me about this guy, and for me, I watch him and I'm like, he's kind of undersized, doesn't really play the point guard position, he's more off ball, but then again, he also has like a pretty high assist and turnover ratio, so. I mean, there's so many things behind just that player, but it's not just that move, right? Because before Tibbs ended up playing him all the minutes that he did, they went and signed him to like a really nice contract. And I said, man, that contract is real. I mean, if you can give me Gabe Vincent or this guy for half the price, oh my God, younger and better. And so there's that move. There's Jalen Brunson, who this team is built around, who also has this incredible contract as well. Everybody on this team, you also have Dr. DiVincenzo, right? You have so
Yeah.
many guys who are just way below market value versus what they're putting into the team. I really do think that for me as a basketball fan, this is the team that I'm the most scared of if I'm any team in the NBA, if they get healthy. If they don't make it further than, the first round, it's because Randall hasn't been healthy enough to go and acclimate himself to this team. The team keeps changing. Mitch Robinson just getting back. Josh Hart is here. Sort of like what is your viewpoint of this team and where they should go from here on out? Because I include the Mitch Robinson thing. I include the Julius Randle, the OG Anunoby. This team is rocking and rolling with Josh Hart. How do you fit all these big pieces inside?
Yeah, it's definitely a puzzle to see how it's going to come together. This is definitely, you have a lot of pieces. You yet to see what the picture looks like. You're scrounging around trying to figure out which piece to fit where because you can't get them all at the same time. I mean, that's what the Knicks season so far has been like. It's like, okay, I know I looked at the box of the puzzle. I know what it's going to look like, but yet I can't put the damn pieces in. So I mean that's what this season feels like. But I just like that the team is playing with a lot of heart and they're giving their all throughout the night, and it really just turns into any team that's really giving their all. You don't know what could happen in the fourth quarter because they're not losing steam. They keep grinding even if their shots are off and they're missing.
Right.
They're trying to get somebody else in the game. So they definitely need. I feel like I think they could pull together, out of the first round into the second round. If one piece is missing, to me, I'd love to get honestly Anunoby back even before Randall. I
Yeah,
feel I
he's the
feel
most
like
important piece. In
he's
my
the
opinion, he is.
yeah, he really just made defensively. There's nothing in the playoffs I think that can shake up an opposition until you have a defensive guy who's playing hard on you, who's looking to steal the ball. I mean, it's like you're not getting that with Randall as you would with Anunoby. So it's like if he comes back, Mitch and everybody else. I think that's good enough. I think you definitely have a solid team with just that. Because you never, they're all playing hard and they're all playing up, and whenever you put that extra pressure on, that's where I think the difference comes in the playoffs. Because honestly, it's been turning into what a total of 250 points to 300 points a game. So there is no defense in most of these games this year. So if somebody sees it in the postseason, they might get a little, you might throw them off
Right
their
there.
game.
Wow. Brunson tried to take as quick of a three-pointer as he could. Wemby going and affecting that shot. Wemby on the other side of the court. Wemby getting in the middle of all this. Here goes Dante DiVincenzo, wide open for three. Hits the three. Knicks up 113 to 112. I mean, even still, the Knicks should be just working this team because they have enough guys that they should be able to be like this, even with Wemby on the floor. San Antonio has been a bit tougher lately, but still, it's the way that they win these games, and I think that's what you're sort of saying is like you never know with these guys when somebody's going to step up in the fourth quarter, as close as these games get, and this is what I'm talking about here. They go and get a transition bucket from Dante DiVincenzo over there in the corner. It's just this team knows each other so well that the defense to offense creation is just immaculate. So that right there is an example. But over here we have Wemby who can go and tie the game. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, they've really been putting the pieces together in San Antonio. They like we were saying, one piece kind of could just turn the whole team around. Obviously, it's a big piece, but
I mean, honestly, I think if you can get DeJounte Murray,
yeah,
I mean, I think he would be so good with Wemby. He's got so much length. He shoots a three a lot now. He's a ball handler. He can pass the ball really well. He's showing right now what he can do with Atlanta, just what kind of player he is. So is he like? Sorry, what we're gonna say?
I was saying, like, it seems like with Pop there and the new Tim Duncan, he could turn this to another 10-year stretch.
With a point guard, it makes all the difference in the world for Wemby. That's a big thing. Here goes Brunson one more time. Brunson with 55 points tonight. We are here with 5 minutes left to go, about 4 minutes.
You got him in fast break now.
I have him in fast break, and I'm loving this right now. This is incredible. But still, either way, without fast break, Brunson with 55 points can get this 60 tonight. It's doable. 2 threes.
Yeah,
and right now it's a 2-point game, so you need 2 threes.
Yeah, it's I don't. What do you think though? Just on, I'm not obviously caught a lot of the Mavs games with when Brunson was with Luka. What do you think of as why Brunson wasn't, say, at the level, or what could it have worked if he did stay there, but something else changed? I wonder what he just needed the stage to himself to come out to this level, but you wonder if that could have worked in a different way since they were both on the same team not long ago.
Nick's single scoring record is 62. Wow, what good stats, Vic. What you asked is such a great question, WizWit. So we're here with 3:45 left to go. Sorry, somebody just hit the door real quick. Ladies' Night is getting out of hand. No, but the question that you asked is so good. So here's the whole thing. When it comes to Brunson, you have a couple different types of players, right? You have he fits the New York DNA in such a way. I mean, we're talking ISO basketball. We're talking somebody who's been great in the clutch, who has won at every single level. I don't think that it's that he didn't prove himself back then, because it was always when Luka was out that Brunson was the guy on the team, and he could lead his team into victory as he had done at every single level before that. It was just that the Dallas Mavericks didn't appreciate him. And anybody who saw that contract was like, oh my God, this is crazy, because in the New York, when you play in New York will never play with no point guard. It's just never going to happen. There's no positionless basketball. There's always a point guard in New York. That's the identity of the team. It's going to be isocentric. So you got somebody now who's one of the most clutch players at every single level. He wins at every single level, and you're adding him onto your team with the proven track record. Even in the NBA, when Luka's out, it's a completely different Brunson versus him acclimating with Luka. So I have a lot of questions in terms of Luka, in terms of how does he fit with other players, but what he's doing with the Mavericks this season, Luka and the Mavericks are a very scary team in the West. So I think in a lot of ways, this is one of those situations where both players got better being apart from one another because they can never coexist together. in order to have a winning basketball team. And I think that proved itself over the past couple of years.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. That's great. Great breakdown, I think, of it, because it's just, you're right with Brunson. I mean, in his play, in the playoffs, I believe he helped contribute well when Luca went down for a bit. I think that was a couple years back.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, it's interesting because, like, obviously how Kyrie plays. You've seen some years, obviously, with question marks. Until now. But I wonder if he's more, is he more ball dominant? Does he, like,
For sure.
I
He
mean,
needs
like,
the ball in his hand more, for
yeah.
sure.
So
To have another ball dominant guy, that's why Jalen Brunson, the way
Yeah.
you build around him is very different how you build around Luca.
Right.
So Jalen Brunson, the way that the New York Knicks have built around him is like, okay, Jalen Brunson, he has his flaws. He's still a small guy. He's not somebody who's going to go and jump over and dunk over somebody. He's not going to go and beat anybody off the dribble with his athleticism and speed. What he is he's an intelligent point guard, and he knows how to go and break down the defense in a half-court offense. And so that is so valuable in the playoffs. If you build around that, you just need all the right pieces, right? And you can walk up and down like the entire New York Knicks. You can talk about OG Anunoby, who I think you and I both agree would be probably the second most important player on this team because he can guard every position.
Mhm.
And he changed the Knicks in such a big way that in playoff basketball, he makes probably the biggest difference because it's defense. And the Knicks sorely need somebody who can go and guard the opposing team's best player that isn't Brunson, that can sort of shadow somebody. It does so much for this team. Julius Randle, obviously, coming back from an injury, but Isaiah Hartenstein going and getting some minutes this year, developing, himself, Josh Hart, who can go and get rebounds up against everyone. It's just you have such a deep team at every position that if he's having an off night, you just have so much to pack around that. So it fits in New York DNA in a way that's just so perfect. That's really the whole explanation. Because, I mean, when I say this, you know what I'm talking about. New York basketball is, I want my point guard, and I want somebody who can freaking run this shit, who's not afraid.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's for sure. And just going off of like what you were
Even right
saying.
here, right now, as we watch this game.
Yeah, I mean, definitely just taking the control of the game and playing playing hard. I mean, it's just the guy hardly gets rest in these games. It's just it's kind of that. Yeah, it's like the Rocky Balboa. You know what I mean? It's like the New York Philly feel of just like it's both the same.
Wemby goes up. Wemby gets the call. Wemby has a chance right now to go and tie the game right now. So we're at a very pivotal part. Tibbs is pissed. Did you hear the other day with Bol? So it's a very similar play to this, actually, where he kind of grazes his arm on Wemby, and then he goes up and gets the free throws. And then Bol goes and he says, like, oh, you're going to dick ride now, or something like that.
Yeah, I saw there was some comment about that. I was dying. I don't know what.
So, yeah, right here, 25 seconds left-ish. Like, it's...
Yeah.
I don't know that I saw a lot of contact on this play. 4 points away for you on fast break. Let's go. And the 6-man. I think I hit already. I think Jalen... Oh, my God. I have 4 points. I need 4 points, too. You're the same lineup as me, dude. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's right. Fuck.
Quickly, we were talking about what like Anunoby being like a defensive player. It's kind of something I feel like in the what we were saying in the postseason makes a difference. I mean, how many guys you think currently in the league you see always become a star in the postseason for that? Like Marcus Smart, and you got Schroeder had times it was effective. Like all of a sudden these guys laying low all season on a team in a way. Postseason comes and they're the difference maker. I mean, like how many you think we're gonna have? Like what guys do you feel in the league are gonna make that difference this postseason?
That is such a man. I'm loving these questions, man. So I got a couple guys. One off the top of my head, I see Stan Love's in here. Definitely Terry Rozier. I think Terry Rozier has yet to go and really get his feet really gelled in this Miami Heat team. But man, this guy there's no advanced stats you can go and sort of, I mean, you can get into like how many times guys are straight up in his face, hand all over him, and he's just burying shots.
Yeah.
The fact that Miami Heat now have a point guard who can actually dunk, it's great. I think that he has a lot of really good intangibles that I think will show itself in the playoffs. I think the biggest thing that can sort of throw off the Miami Heat is how do you integrate Tyler Hero with all this? Duncan Robinson, two guys. Well, Duncan Robinson, who has been having a great year. Tyler Hero is actually having a career, season. And neither one of those guys can play together. So I think Terry Rozier is sort of how you fit them both in some way, shape, or form. I think he's sort of the cog that can sort of make the whole machine sort of fit together. So he's one of them for sure that I could see people that were like, oh, yeah, that was a move that got made back in the day, and this is sort of how it manifested out. I think Naz Reid for the Timberwolves has been absolutely incredible. I think Naz Reid is someone who has really shown the NBA, like, this is also probably one of the best contracts. He can block inside the paint. He can stretch the floor. He can go to the free throw line because guys are chasing him on the three-point line. He can hit. So I think Naz Reid is someone who's really opened up a lot of people's eyes. I can go on like we're here with 13 seconds left to go. We got Brunson in the house. Let's see what he does here in the clutch. Here we go. Brunson waving them down. He's stepping back. He's kicking it out. Miles McBride is not scared. He misses, and we are in overtime.
Of course. That's it. Brunson will get you your 4 extra points, I'm sure.
Yo, this is awesome, guys. Yeah, the 4 extra points are going to come from here because apparently Jalen Green has 2 points right now. 2 freaking points.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Duncan Robinson fastest at 1,000 threes. Rozier has some weight in his game. I agree with you, Stan Loves. I watch him sometimes, and it's absolutely amazing. All right, guys. So why don't we do this? So we have the VGN. I'm going to give that pack out to VK. Vic. I'm going to send out to Vic right now. But we have a Cam Thomas Top Shot debut, and we also have a Mikal Bridges, rare in the house. So I'm not going to go and take away the entire, sort of stream over here from our friend WizWit. But WizWit, why don't you let everybody know, just a couple things because we have to get this before if you do have to go, just out there in the open. First of all, you got an event, happening at some point or another. I think it'd be a good idea to go and maybe drop that, or if you want me to go drop it in the chat, you definitely could. The Brooklyn Nets are having. Why don't you explain the event? And then also, too, Molly Ringwald, or not Molly Ringwald, I'm sorry. Well, Molly from ESPN, she was on your, post. And so that's a really cool thing that I think people may want to know a little bit more about with your event. So why don't you go and explain a little bit of the two of them?
Sure. Yeah. It's, that's obviously friendly with Molly over the.
We're gonna live that one down, and I said I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, listen, Stephen A. Smith and the Breakfast Club. It works. It's at 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's all kind of relative. I obviously work there, and I've been friendly over the years. So I said, there's really something coming up. I said, it's something different. Let me ask her if she'll do it. So she's so cool and just a real genuine person. So just was happy that she was no problems to do what she can, obviously. So she was like, no, I'll come on, say a little something. But just figured, might as well try to help just to get the word out. My first thing is that I'm always trying to pump and tell as many people about Top Shot, the community, what entertainment it provides, what exactly it is, because it takes a lengthy conversation to really explain it. So it's like, well, if you can grab someone's attention at least, I'm like, maybe if somebody that everyone recognizes is says a few words about it, maybe they'll sit and listen to it for a while. So it's kind of been working. A lot of people have been asking me about it. I mean, even in person that I know. Obviously, I've been retweeting and posting out to even friends that I know. Where in the past you could have mentioned it, but now it's like, okay, wait, now I'm interested because now I see Molly talking about something. So yeah, tell me about this Top Shot stuff. So I was like, yeah, I've been trying to tell you for the last 3 years about it.
What did she think about it though? That's obviously the question. Like, so did she get it, or was she kind of like, I don't really know, like it's not my thing, or?
No, I think she likes it. I mean, a lot of people, honestly, who I've talked to really think it's cool. You know what I mean? I think initially, almost everyone's reaction is like, you don't like when they hear about some of the prices of some of the stuff. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain. Like
crazy.
Yeah, I really don't start out with explaining like Series 1 because that might just throw them for a loop and be like, I don't know what people are doing with their money. But when you kind of mention like the more recent prices, it's like, oh, okay, this thing's $30 for a rare. This is, that used to be 1,000. Then it kind of puts things into a more normal perspective for them to really grasp it. But that's where they kind of, as this kind of, I think a lot of it where I'm kind of seeing things like these collectibles are kind of mirroring, say, in a way, if it gets to, not mirroring, but getting closer to what physical trading cards are like,
For
then,
sure.
I feel like a lot of worry and a lot of everyone, like, I'm not getting something valuable goes away because there's plenty, like, I have boxes of base cards, physical cards
That
that
do nothing.
honestly, yeah, I can't even turn them into printing paper right now. Like they're useless. So it's
That's
really can't do nothing with it. But that's the same with these. I mean, if you could burn, anything and turn it into a pack to get something else, I mean, what else can you do? Where else can you get something like that? So it's coming down to a level I feel like that really can get collectors to stick around instead of just come in, jump in, sell something, and then bounce. So, it's kind of what I'm trying to do with the video by asking it help is try to get the word out. And obviously, to promote this event, which we're having April 12th here in New York City, we're going to be doing a bowling lounge, which is going to have giveaways. We're going to have the members of the Cool Cat Club here, our Nine Lives lounge members have a guaranteed spot in coming to the event. And then after that, we're going to try to, for by chance to see how much more we can get in because we're trying to get as many as we can to the event at some for some capacity of it and see how as much as we can get everybody there. But we're going to have to see and be selective. But the Nine Live Lounge members will be guaranteed a spot in there. But we are trying to have as much fun as we can at a meetup, get everybody together, and have some fun watching the Nets versus the Knicks as the last matchup of the season for those two teams.
Yeah, and there's the event right there. Man, 250. I remember when I wasn't getting on the flight over here to Chicago, and I was like, oh my god. Because at first, like, I was like, do people not know who this is? Like, she actually fixed First Take. Like, she was like the best moderator to be in there when sort of the Skip A-list went over to Fox and X, Y, and Z. She was like the one constant that you were like, yeah, she's awesome. She's in a video with you. I was like, I don't think people really know what's going on with this whole thing. And so it was just kind of crazy how like in a little bit of time it just like really went up. And so I mean, I appreciate you for like, just even trying to go and get the word out there because at the end of the day, like it's just kind of crazy because I can't tell like and talk to other people about this stuff because they wouldn't be able to understand it. Like, what is burning? What is this? What is that? Right? Like, they just wouldn't get it. But at the end of the day, when this fast break, slate happened, people know what kind of pieces I have to go and help them out. So the sharps are already going and hitting me up like, hey, can I borrow that Wemby on like around this and this time? Can I borrow like this Jimmy Butler rare? Like, they already know my fandom. They already know what pieces I have to go and be good at this game. So at some level, like we're already trading stuff and playing with our cards and doing different things. And that is such a different and unique way than what you could ever do with physical collectibles. Because how could I go and like tell some guy like, oh yeah, let me go and send you this by FedEx and you can go enter some tournament and like how could I ever do anything with that? It's impossible. But every day there's like a new event or a new thing that you can do with these things, and it's just I get it. It's a video clip that you could reproduce yourself if you wanted to, but this is NBA licensed. This is authenticated on a blockchain that is very reputable. Disney's involved. You got NFL involved. UFC. Even though it's kind of an offset, still on the Flow blockchain. There are so many entities in brands that trust this entire technology that it's crazy to me that I thought if Brunson made that, I was just gonna lose it. I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, no, man, that was true. It really, I mean, I really feel like that there's so much that could grow. There's so much that could move upwards, but it's kind of a slow and patient game. I really feel like it's something that everybody kind of hears, puts might if they're not tuned into it, put in the back of their head. But the more times I feel like it comes around, then somebody eventually says, you know what, let me check it out because honestly, it's like how many times did you hear of TikTok when it came out? And it's like, oh, another thing, another app. Now, how many people have signed on to that thing and now ditched everything else? It's,
Right.
it's just it's another thing where you're like, oh no, what is this? I already have Instagram, Facebook. They all do the same thing. Now you got another TikTok. I don't know what this is. Now it's like it's it. You just slowly you keep hearing it and seeing it, and then you're like, well, all right, let me download it, and then that's it. You're dead. So it's like you never know. It's like you just got to be patient with it. And I really feel like obviously something that you want to see grow. You really can't trash it and talk it down and complain about it because it's like, well, what do you ultimately want? It's like if you're pulling out and you're disappearing, all right, fine. But if you're locked in for another 300 days, like let's keep it, let's keep things positive for a bit, and just be patient with it because it's a whole new technology, it's a whole new way of doing things. So it's gonna take some time.
So speaking of a whole new way to go and do things, the Knicks just brought back Mitch Robinson. Mitch Robinson, look at this right here. He goes and gets the inside position, the tip back. There's a lot of people worried about the Knicks because they've been playing really well lately with, Isaiah Hartenstein, obviously, Josh Hart, a lot of players who are very important on this team. I think there's two things going on there. One is that this Knicks team, they're learning about these players that maybe they, undervalued, in the past. So Josh Hart, now this guy can beast on the boards in small ball lineups. That's great to go and have. Deuce McBride, he can put a bucket in 2 seconds. But you can't teach size. And Mitch Robinson, 2 games in, already having an impact here in overtime. So it says a lot that the Knicks are going against the San Antonio Spurs in overtime. At the same time, they're finding a way to integrate this piece that's very valuable to that team. And I think this is a very good exercise for the Knicks if they really want to make a good postseason run. So we'll see what happens. Jalen Brunson with 61 points tonight. I have hit the crevice of, I have hit the mark. I am good. Yes, fast break secured and the 6-man. We are good to go now. It went horrible tonight, my friend. Tyrese Maxey.
No way. What? Wemby just nailing him from a mile away. Look at that. That was a heck of a shot.
Oh my god. This could change a lot of things if the Knicks lose. Robinson one more time. You can't teach size. You can't teach size. He's just so big, but he's hobbling on an ankle. He did have an ankle injury. Remember that?
Yeah, this is just when they've played a complete game. It's here's a few more minutes to play. There's no letting up here.
Man, good defense though. I mean, not there. Before.
Yeah,
Not on that play.
That's a heck of a shot.
This right here, man.
Wow. All right. Well, there's a little bit left, I guess. We'll see how this unravels.
No, of course. Well, let me ask you a question. I haven't gone to ask you. So, what got you into Top Shot? Because that's normally the first question. Like, when did you enter? What, sort of put you on the track towards it? Yeah.
Yep. Again, it was that February 2021 time.
Me too.
I think it was just kind of like popping around. If you were into crypto at the time. It's something that easily, I think, came across your way. And for me, I've always, like I said, collected physical stuff, autographs. Always tried to, as a kid, stretch a hand over the dugout, try to get somebody to sign a ball. It's like just kind of, I think, goes hand in hand with that. So as soon as you see sports collectibles and you're like, okay, well, what is this? And then it was like, well, this is interesting. If I get a pack, it's worth X amount of dollars. Yeah, why not? I've been to a couple. I've taken a couple of shots on things. Let's see how this goes. And then after that, I think it was first rip was Rising Stars pack. So after getting a Wiseman in that, and think it was around 1,500 at the time, so it was instantly hooked at that moment. So that was the beginning of the Top Shot
And
days
speaking of
for me.
which, did you end up selling the Hawkeyes?
No, I did not yet. A couple people are still interested. Just kind of waiting right now. I just think I'm not in a rush for that jersey match. So I think it's right now a lot of people I think are just focusing on the MGLE set and the expert challenge and reward. So I'm just kind of waiting for a little bit of time to pass and then maybe see in a couple weeks exactly, check back with everybody and see what, who's really interested in it because I know then that leaderboard comes up, top three get a shot. The Hawkeyes leaderboard top three, I get that one moment pack. So probably see around then, see, people have some more time and get past the MGLE set, see who's interested at that point.
For sure. Especially, yeah, it's, man, I don't think people are going to be able to appreciate that particular moment because it has his draft footage. It's his rookie season. He's incredible. The Miami Heat success is going to be very predicated on him being a part of it. I know right now he's not really been included, but yeah, the Heat are going to have to go and look to somebody who can actually drive towards the hoop, create contact, do a bunch of and ones. Didn't hit on the B2B one though. Use a different lineup. Got you, Dish Rock, but at least you went and hit one at the very least there. But yeah, it's here we have Brunson one more time. Brunson going up. Brunson getting fouled. Brunson going to the free throw line one more time. Oh my God, Jalen Brunson. I could have not have ever ran Jalen Green tonight, and I would have been okay. I could have ran anybody, but such as fast break. I already won tonight. But I'm exactly at 130.
Nice. Yep. We'll see. Got 12 seconds left in this. All right.
Jalen Green has 4 points. Wow. And it's halftime.
Well,
somehow I made it through, but talk about cratering.
I don't know. I've gotten the points is rough when they don't when it's somebody you think is going to be at least in the ballpark, but the blocks and rebounds sometimes just hard to grasp, hard to get those ones. I don't know. Some nights you could put the top 5 blocks guys in, and you end up with 1. I think I did that one time. I was like, "What? 1? Like I just needed 5." And really, I put everybody up at the top in that. And I said, "Really?" Blocks is hard to kind of predict. I feel for me, it's like you never know. And then some dude comes off the bench and gets 3 blocks. And like, why did I play this? Nuts.
Yeah, this fast break is going to be very, very tough. Even if you have all the legendaries, there could be a lot of guys who just straight up do not play.
Yeah.
Or they'll play 5 minutes, they'll have a small tweak, and they'll be out. I mean, people are going to be in for a very rough sort of. I use Jalen too, though. I feel like he's been on the heater, so he was due for a rough game. Yeah, same here.
If you do your homework, you could catch someone who, they're going to be resting a couple guys as they're getting into the playoffs. So you can get some cheap res and actually get this completed, I think, pretty inexpensive if you catch the one guy who's jumping in place. People be checking that injury list as soon as it updates for the day.
Yep. I mean, that's how gamblers work. Gamblers usually are on top of it. Here we have Brunson. Brunson going in here. 2-point game. Out for 3. Is that going to be a dub? No, it's not. Here we got Mitch Robb. It's going out of bounds off of DiVincenzo's hands. Oh, that one hurts. San Antonio Spurs are going to walk away with this dub. This is big. This is actually a big loss, but let's see. The New York Knicks are going to have to go and defend this one. They're going to foul. And then they would have to depend that they miss 1 free throw if things work out. Oh, no. Why rush? Yes, I agree with that. This is... Ugh. It's not a bad shot. It's back at the rim. It's basically in. Ugh. Yeah, no, Mitch Robb wanted to kick that out. But he got the offensive rebound. Ugh. Man, that's tough. That's tough.